as always, by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who are still leading as examples to the flock. Citations to the Akim out there who are sincerely teaching this word, laboring for that penny a day to be a part of that number, and to the rest of the elect, the men, women, and children whom the Lord has foreordained, to be a part of the number that are delivered, Shalom. This lesson is gonna be based on the personal carbon allowance or personal carbon tracking, that the World Economic Forum, it's a part of their Agenda 2030 or a part of their Great Reset. It's also a part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And it's one of their agenda that are tied to, according to them, combating climate change, and also, introducing restrictions pretty much, on how you spend, and what you can spend on. So before we get into it, I just want to highlight, a precept here. This is 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, now let's look up that word, devices.
Strong's G 3540, Naima.
It says a mental perception, a thought, an evil purpose, right? That which thinks, the mind, thoughts, or purpose, right? So we're not supposed to be ignorant of the evil purposes, of Satan. And on earth, there's a physical manifestation, of the spiritual demon Satan, right? And that is, the Edomite nation, right? The so-called Caucasian or European man, right? And specifically the elite among them, they have an evil purpose, that they have planned for the world, and we should not be ignorant of it. So this video aims at edifying both myself, and the Akim and Akwath, watching. So we're going to start off first with this clip here that was earlier this year, a World Economic Forum panel discussion. And this here is the new president of Alibaba, right? And he's speaking about, what we're going to get into in this lesson, which are, tracking devices or tracking capabilities or ways of tracking, and monitoring your carbon footprint or your personal carbon emission.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
All right. So if you notice, right, let me replay it. He's gonna tell you exactly what they'll be tracking.
What are they consuming on the platform?
All right, let me go back a little further.
What are they eating?
Right.
What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon.
Let's go back a little further.
What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So
Right. So this individual, carbon footprint tracker is gonna track where you traveling to, how you traveling, what are you eating, what are you consuming on the platform, meaning on social media, right? So pretty much every aspect of your life, will be quantified, tracked, measured, right, and then monitored, and used to restrict how you go about your daily life. Now, how are they gonna do that, right? Certain technologies, are being put in place right now, chief of which is the CBDC technology that's being rolled out, and we're gonna tie everything in, as we go, through this lesson. So we're gonna move over to this article here that's posted on the World Economic Forum's website, and it was posted September 14, 2022, so just a couple weeks ago, right? And it says My Carbon, right, which is a new initiative that they're pushing right now, the World Economic Forum, the My Carbon initiative, right? It's an approach for inclusive and sustainable cities, right? So it says cities across the world account for almost 75% of our total carbon emissions. As countries move towards implementing their pledges for a net zero future, urban areas will remain the action ground for decades to come. While transportation and buildings are the major drivers for emissions in cities, the share of individual emissions are significant at around 40%, right? Inclusivity of citizens is becoming the most important element of success or failure in the journey towards sustainability. Community-led initiatives can make significant contribution towards sustainability, increase resilience, and social cohesion. There have been numerous examples of personal carbon allowance programs in discussions for the last 2 decades. However, they had limited success due to a lack of social acceptance, which they're working on now, right? And they've actually, matter of fact, we're going to get into it. Political resistance and a lack of awareness and fair mechanism for tracking my carbon emissions, right? So it says our world is transforming, big community trends for sustainable cities. So he's going to mention 3 developments, that have made this, this new initiative more possible. So the first one is the C-19, pandemic, right, was the test of social responsibility, right? There's also a clip I was trying to find, but I can't find it. It was a female member of the WEF. I can't remember which one it was, if it was Christine Lagarde or somebody else. And she was saying that, the C-19, event, pretty much indicated how willing people were to give up their freedoms, for the greater good, pretty much, roughly paraphrasing what she said. And here is the same thing that's happening now. This article is saying that it was the test for social responsibility. It says a huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. So what this proved was that you could get a lot of people, billions of people, the majority of people, to comply, right, if you motivate them enough. If they are convinced that there's an existential threat, right, there's a public health threat, then people will comply, right? It says there were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility. So the idea is to get people to be compliant and, socially responsible, right? So this is going to transform, not from a public health standpoint in terms of, what happened with the C-19, but with climate change, right? So it says, 4th, industrial revolution technology breakthroughs. Advances in emerging technology like AI, blockchain, and digitization can enable tracking personal carbon emissions, raise awareness, and also provide individual advisories on lower carbon and ethical choices for consumption of products and services. Which is why you see things like this article that was written a couple years back that said, we will own nothing and be happy, and it's talking about renting your house, your living space, everybody taking public transportation, you pretty much own nothing, you rent what you need, when you need it. And now there's a big push to increase the consumption of insects, synthetic meats, so reduce, overall carbon emissions from eating meat, all these different things, are a part of this my carbon agenda, right? So going down, there was another part here. Okay, I don't think it's in this part. Yeah, so this I brought out the main things I want to bring out from this. I'll leave it in the chat, in the description box, so brothers can read it and in more details and see what it's saying. So next, this is from right? So this site is from nature.com, right? Official site, right? And this is a study, right, called Personal Carbon Allowances Revisited, right? And this was published 16th of August 2021, right? It says here we discuss how personal carbon allowances, PCAs, could play a role in achieving ambitious climate mitigation targets. We argue that recent advances in AI for sustainable development, together with the need for a low carbon recovery from the C-19 crisis, never let a crisis go to waste, open a new window of opportunity for PCAs. Furthermore, we present design principles based on the Sustainable Development Goals for the future adoption of PCAs. We conclude that PCAs could be trialed in selected climate-conscious, technologically advanced countries, mindful of potential issues around integration into the current policy mix, privacy concerns, and distribution impacts. All right, so there's a part of it specifically that I wanted to go into. All right, here we go. All right, so this part here, it says, in this context, the introduction of personal carbon allowances, PCAs, a mitigation policy proposal developed in the 1990s, is ripe for revisitation. This policy aims to link personal action with global carbon reduction goals. A PCA scheme would entitle all adults receiving an equal, tradable carbon allowance that reduces over time in line with national targets. In its original design, the allowance could cover around 40% of energy-related emissions in high-income countries, encompassing individuals' carbon emission related to traveling, space heating, water heating, and electricity. Allowances were envisioned to be deducted from the personal budget with every payment for transport fuel, home heating fuels, and electricity bill. People in shortage would be able to purchase additional units in the personal carbon market for those with excess to sell. It says new, more ambitious PCA proposal include economy-wide emissions encompassing food, services, and consumption-related carbon emissions, for example. So in layman's terms, the idea, right, the goal, is to every year, every individual will receive a carbon allowance. That carbon allowance will allow you, right, to consume, services, food, services, electricity, travel, all these different things, within your carbon allowance. If you need to go over that, you need to purchase more personal carbon credit, from the market, to go ahead and consume more. So in that way, your lifestyle would be pretty much regulated by how much carbon your lifestyle is emitting, pretty much, right? So I'll leave this again in the description box so brothers can continue to read on. Have we seen something like this? No. Well, we actually saw a MasterCard that was released 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago, this MasterCard was released, and it's called Doconomy, right? So Doconomy, so this was 30th of April 2019, and this is from mastercard.com. Doconomy is now launching the world's first credit card with a carbon footprint limited, DO Black. The launch of its premium card marks the first milestone in the support that Doconomy provides to the UN Climate Change Secretariat to encourage global climate action. DO Black not only helps users track and measure CO2 emissions associated with their purchases, but also puts a limit to the climate impact of their spending. This is exactly what the study that we just read in nature.com is talking about, and what this here, the World Economic Forum article, is talking about, and what the Alibaba president mentioned here, right? So this is a real world trial, of carbon emission tracking using this special MasterCard called DO Black, or Doconomy Black, right? So pretty much the card gives you a carbon limit, a carbon emission limit, and if you reach that limit, you can no longer spend money on things that will emit carbon, right? So that, like, for example, traveling, eating certain foods, whatever other things, right? So I'll also leave this one so brothers can read it. So then we're gonna tie in all of this now to CBDCs, right? So CBDCs are central bank digital currencies, and they're all the rave right now. You know, the majority of the countries in the world are either actively implementing it or have implemented some form of it. For example, here in Jamaica, we've implemented the JAMDEX, or the Jamaican Digital Exchange, which is the CBDC equivalent for the Jamaican dollar. You know, so we are the first country, I believe, to make CBDCs legal tender for everything. So you can use the JAMDEX to pay for anything, to service debts, whatever actual paper currency can be used for, the CBDC can be used for here in Jamaica. And the goal is to do that globally. But why? Why is there a shift to both digital identity for citizens and also you know, the shift to CBDCs, or digital money? We're going to go into it. So keep in mind that the idea is to track, limit, and regulate your spending based on your carbon emission, right? So there has to be some way for the money that you have in your bank account, right, to be linked to how much carbon you have already emitted, right, and then limit you in your purchases going forward, right? So this article was written in the 27th of July 2021, so last year. It says CBDC systems should focus on programmable payments, right? It says according to the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank for all central banks pretty much, right? So it says over 60% of central banks are experimenting with central bank digital currency technology. CBDCs are close to being widely introduced, and many complex matters have been discussed in financial circles. These include developing secure infrastructure, questions around governance, such as how to balance anonymity with transparency, and mitigating adverse economic impacts. Right? So we're going to jump down here to where it talks about programmability. Right? It says, when talking about programmability, it is crucial to note the distinction between programmable money and programmable payments. The two terms are often used interchangeable, but there is a difference. Programmable money is designed with built-in rules that constrain the user. These rules could mean that money expires after a fixed date, or its use is restricted to a certain set of goods, which actually happens right now. You know, so the idea, you know, is that they're saying that, you know, we're not advocating for programmable money. We're advocating for programmable payments. But you're gonna see as we read on that it's pretty much the same thing. You know, just said in a more nuanced way. You know, there's a word it's slipping me. It's said in a more you know, it's a word is slipping me. You know, so it's said in a more acceptable way, pretty much. You know, so it says programmable money is designed with built-in constraints that built-in rules that constrain the user. These rules mean that money expires after a fixed date, or its use is restricted to a certain set of goods. This would affect digital currency acceptance and has obvious legal implications. So people are realizing that, hey, we don't like this. So that's why they're saying, you know, people wouldn't accept it. So now they're saying, okay, we're going to push up programmable payments. But here is what programmable payment is. It's very similar. It says programmable payments, on the other hand, enable automatic transfers to be carried out or blocked when predetermined conditions are met. These could include daily spending limits or recurring payments, similar to direct debits and standing orders, but with added complexity and conditionality. Right? So conditionality, one of those conditions would be, have you reached your carbon allowance limit, or personal carbon emission limit? Right? If you've reached it, hey, you can't spend it on certain things anymore. Right? This is why CBDCs are a crucial part of the WEF agenda. Right? Let's get a few precepts here. This is Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousnesses which they have prescribed. We are reading examples of these. Right? To turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And of course, you know, we have to go to Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. Now this is becoming more and more clear, because as CBDCs become widely distributed, right, the use of, you know, the CHIP, you know, the MOTB is gonna be even more widely implemented. Right? So now it's even clearer, that you won't be able to buy or sell without this thing and without actually, being within your limit, your carbon emission limit. Right? This is Revelation 13, verse 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. We're seeing how this is being implemented, little by little, insidiously, by these men, right? This is Micah 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. They covet fields, they take them by violence, and houses, they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Because you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose everything to these men. These men are going to own everything, right? And you're going to subscribe to everything that you need. Your house is going to be subscribed to. Your car, your phone, your grocery bill is going to be a subscription, and all will be conditional on what? On your carbon emission, your personal carbon emission. Psalm 64, verse 1. It says, Hear my voice, O Yahweh. In my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of slain snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But we know that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not going to allow, their enterprise to come to full fruition, right? This is Job 5, verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, right? And that word devices in the New Testament went back to what? Evil purposes, right? Let's look up what it is here in the Hebrew, right? Right, this is Macha Shabbat, and it says thought, right? So it goes back to the same thing, that in the New Testament in 2 Corinthians 2, thought, device, thought, plan, purpose, right? Invention, right? So it says here cunning, a contrivance, right? So all these different things go back to what? Conspiracy theories. These are conspiracies. So devices are conspiracies, plans that are made in secret together, among, more than one individual, right? So going back, to the precept, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprises. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. So the Lord is going to disappoint them, But hopefully this lesson was edifying to the spirit. Until next time, Asher Shalom.